Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the third webinar in our CEP webinar series to talk about the notification and publication requirements. My name is Heather Hopwood, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Ian Garrison. We've had some technical difficulties uploading the handouts for today's webinar. We'll continue to work on that in the hopes that we can have them up before we conclude today. But just so you know, we do not have handouts uploaded, the slides uploaded. Today's webinar is also being recorded, and it'll be available in a few weeks on our website, and we'll give you that website address a little bit later in the webcast when we talk about resources. But here's the information that we'll be providing in the next hour. We'll talk about the purpose of the notification and publication requirements, what the requirements are, and the USDA template, and at the end we'll have some time for questions. You can type your questions in at any time during the webinar in the Q&A tab on the webinar tool. You don't need to hold them to the end. And then at the end, we'll read the questions aloud and answer as many as we can. So let's get started by talking about the purpose of the notification and publication requirements. They're basically to promote and disseminate information about community eligibility, and it's intended to notify those eligible and the public about CEP eligibility and to promote outreach, and of course ultimately to increase students' access to school meals in high poverty areas. And that's why the information is required to be posted on a public website. We get tons of inquiries from the public and from media about CEP eligibility, people wanting to know if schools in their area are eligible. And so there's a lot of interest in the potential to provide free meals to high-need students, and throughout the year we constantly refer folks to these eligibility lists. So with that, we'll dive into the actual requirements. So first, the important dates. There are two deadlines in the notification and publication process, April 15th and May 1st. There are two things that need to happen by April 15th. State agencies must notify local educational agencies, or LEAs, of their district-wide eligibility status and provide guidance and information letting them know how they can elect community eligibility. Also by April 15th, LEAs have to submit their school-level eligibility information to their state agency. And if you at the state agency already have access to the school-level data, then you can exempt the LEAs from providing the school-level list to you. And then by May 1st, state agencies are required to publish both the LEA district-wide and school-level lists on their public websites, and then also send the links to us at FNS to the email address listed on this slide, CEP notification at fns.usda.gov. We encourage state agencies to publish the USDA-developed CEP publication template, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this webcast. So like I mentioned, by April 15th of each year, state agencies have to notify LEAs of their district-wide eligibility status. And the school districts that have to be notified are those that are eligible district-wide, meaning that their district-wide identified student percentage, or ISP, is at least 40%. Those that are near eligible, which means that their ISP is greater than 30% but less than 40%. And then those that are currently participating in CEP. And finally, those that are in their fourth year of their CEP cycle with an ISP that's at least 30 but less than 40. So districts in this category are eligible for a grace year, which means that they have the option of participating in CEP for a fifth year. In addition to simply notifying the district, you also need to provide districts, like I mentioned, with guidance on CEP and let them know how they can participate if they're not already doing so. So in terms of the LEA responsibility for the list of schools, by April 15th of each year, LEAs have to give the state agency the same information, but at the school level. So that includes the list of eligible schools, again with an ISP of at least 40%, near eligible schools, again with an ISP equal to or greater than 30 but less than 40, schools that are currently participating, and then those that are eligible for a grace year. So now I'll turn it over to Yang to provide more details about the notification data.
Thanks, Heather. State agencies are required to collect and submit to FNS 2 levels of data: LEA district-wide data and school-level data. Notification data must reflect the current school year. Current school year data includes April 1st data, the most current data, or proxy data collected for October reporting requirements. As Heather previously mentioned, lists containing both LEA-wide data and school-level data must be published on state agency websites. FNS will then link to the state agency websites to fulfill the public notification requirement. For LEA level data, school districts are encouraged to use existing data from the FNS 742. The sum of Section 3 on the revised FNS 742 is the number of identified students. Enrollment data is captured in Section 1 of the 742. So the sum of Section 3 divided by enrollment data in Section 1 multiplied by 100 gives you the district-wide identified student percentage. Enrollment data is captured in Section 1 of the FNS 742. Section 1-1A is the total number of schools district-wide, and Section 1-1B is the total enrollment in all schools district-wide. Section 3 of the FNS 742 includes the number of identified students district-wide. Section 3.2 is the number of students directly certified through SNAP. Section 3.3 is the number of students directly certified through other programs, including TANF, FDPIR, Medicaid, if applicable. Those documented as homeless, migrant, runaway, or foster kids, and those enrolled in Head Start or Pre-K Even Start. Section 3.4 is the number of students certified categorically free eligible through SNAP letter method. These sections added up equal the number of identified students district-wide. As we displayed in a previous slide, the number of identified students district-wide divided by total enrollment, which is collected in Section 1, multiplied by 100 equals the district-wide identified student percentage. For school-level data, LEAs must provide state agencies with school-level eligibility status information no later than April 15th. State agencies with access to school-level data may exempt LEAs from this requirement. Direct certifications with SNAP, divided by total enrollment, may be used as a proxy for the identified student percentage. A proxy percentage provides an indicator of potential school-level eligibility and/or near eligibility. If April 1st data is not available, state agencies and LEAs are encouraged to use the most current data available to prepare both the notification and publication list. If data collected for October reporting requirements are the most current data available, this data may be used to fulfill the notification and publication requirements. LEAs interested in electing CEP must provide state agencies with full school-level identified student counts and enrollment data reflective of April 1st in order to determine eligibility and to elect CEP in subsequent school years. But if the submitted data is not reflective of April 1st and/or proxy data is used, the following notations must be included to explain that the data provided is a proxy for actual eligibility. Notification data is for informational purposes and does not confer eligibility, or proxy data is not fully reflective of the number of identified students. So now I will hand it back over to Heather for an overview of the FNS CEP notification template.
Thanks, Yang. So as we mentioned, we strongly encourage you all to use the FNS template to publish your notification list. Again, data in the recommended Excel format should be published on your state agency websites. Like last year, the notification template is an Excel file with 2 tabs, an LEA district-wide eligibility data tab, and then a school-level eligibility data tab. So first we'll take a look at the LEA level data. The following data should be included for all LEAs in the state receiving a district-wide eligibility status notification. In column 1, provide the LEA ID and provide the LEA name in column 2. We're going to try to enlarge these columns for a second. Yeah, there you go. So column 1 is the LEA ID. Column 2 is the LEA name. Column 3 is the district-wide identified student percentage. And then columns 4 through 6 are for indicating the LEA's CEP status, and only one column, either 4, 5, or 6, should be completed per LEA. So for column 4, if the LEA is currently participating in CEP, you put an A in that column if the LEA is participating for all schools, so district-wide, and then you would indicate partial participation for one or some schools with an S in column 4. If the LEA is currently participating in CEP, you would only complete column 4, and then columns 5 and 6 would be left blank. You would place an X in column 5 if the LEA is eligible to participate in CEP, meaning the district-wide ISP is greater than or equal to 40%. And then place an X in column 6 if the LEA is near eligible to participate, again with an ISP of 30 or greater but less than 40. Place an X in column 7 if the LEA is currently in the 4th year of their CEP cycle and eligible for a grace year, so ISP between 30 and 40%. And then this year's template includes one additional column, that's column 8. If the LEA is participating or eligible to participate, provide the district-wide student enrollment. So now let's take a look at the school level data. The following information is included in the school level data tab. Again, column 1, we have the school name. Column 2 is the LEA name. Column 3, LEA ID. And column 4 provides the school level identified student percentage, or if you're using proxy data, you would complete column 5 for proxy ISP. Place an X in column 6 if the school is currently participating in CEP. Again, only one of these columns, 6, 7, or 8, should be completed to indicate the school's CEP status. So if the school is participating, you would put an X in column 6, and 7 and 8 would be left blank. Or place an X in column 7 if they're eligible to participate, or an X in column 8 if they're near eligible with an ISP between 30 and 40. Column 9 is for schools who are in the 4th year of their cycle and eligible for a grace year. And then column 10 is the new column for this year, which is the school level student enrollment for those schools that are participating or eligible to participate. So this template, along with a corresponding policy memo, will be available on PartnerWeb today. We'll also get it up on our CEP public website as soon as possible. So the next step after notification is publication of the information on the state agency's public website. And that needs to happen by May 1st. And also by May 1st, the link a single link to those lists on the state website needs to be emailed to FNS, and like Yang said, we post those on our website. We link to the lists in each state. And we have a map. This is what it looks like on our website. So anyone who clicks on a state can link to the list directly on your state agency website. Again, just to review, here are the upcoming deadlines related to notification and publication. By April 15th, states must notify LEAs of district-wide eligibility, and LEAs provide school-level information to the state agencies. Also by April 15th, states provide guidance and let those who are eligible, near eligible to elect CEP know how they can do so. By May 1st, states publish the lists of LEAs and schools on their websites and send a link to those lists to us here at FNS so we can also publish it on our website. We also want to make you aware of another deadline, the deadline for school districts to elect CEP. Typically that deadline is June 30th, but last year and again this year, to facilitate national implementation, we're extending the election deadline to August 31st. Last year when we extended the deadline, the CEP elections increased 22% between June 30th and August 31st. And we know that the decision-making process can take some time, particularly when there are governing bodies like school boards and different stakeholders that need to be involved in the approval process. So our hope is that extending the deadline gives the districts additional time to think about CEP and what an important difference it can make for kids in their communities. The policy memo that outlines the deadline extension for the 15-16 school year will also be on PartnerWeb today, but we just wanted to let you know about that. So finally, we have some resources here. This is FNS's CEP website. And also one of the partners that we work with, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, recently published a CEP take-up report based on school year 14-15 participation that includes a searchable database and an interactive map. It's kind of a cool tool, so I wanted to draw your attention to that. And now we'll move to answering some of the questions that you submitted throughout the webinar. So just a moment, we'll read through these and come back and answer some. Okay, the first question is, for state agencies, are they only required to notify LEAs that qualify district-wide? Is there a requirement to notify LEAs that have at least one school that is eligible, near eligible, but not district-wide? Or is posting the list sufficient for these LEAs? The state agencies only need to notify LEAs of their district-wide status, and then the LEAs need to provide the school-level data to the state agencies. But again, if you at the state agency already have access to that information, you can exempt your LEAs from that requirement. Next question, what if an LEA is currently participating but wants to submit new data to increase the ISP? LEAs who are participating are able to increase their ISP or pull new data as of April 1st if they want to start a new 4-year cycle with an increased ISP. So that's an option that participating schools can do each year of their cycle. Next question, Section 1 of the 742 is asking for RCCI student info. Why is that happening if CEP doesn't allow for RCCIs?
In the FNS 742, when you're looking at enrollment data for CEP, you should only focus on Section 1-1, which is total number of schools and total number of students in all of your schools, and that does not include RCCIs. So for the purposes of getting total enrollment data for CEP, you should only focus on Section 1-1 of the 742.
Okay, next question, where can we find and download the new notification template? It'll be up on PartnerWeb today if it's not there already. the person who does our posting was frantically working to get it up before the webinar, and we'll also post it on our public website after it's available on PartnerWeb. Next question is about getting a copy of the slides. As I mentioned at the beginning, we had some problems uploading the slides, but we'll try to do that right after the webinar ends. So if you want to hang on to the live meeting tool for a couple minutes, we'll try to get the handout of the slides up there for you. Next question is, do we have to extend the deadline to August 31st? In our state, schools have already started in July, and extending the deadline causes problems for schools wanting to start after school begins. We can't change their claiming mid-year. The extension to August 31st is mandatory. Last year, we allowed states to not accept elections after August 31st if it wasn't feasible for some reason, but the extension to August 31st is mandatory. Next question, what are the year 2 requirements for LEAs currently participating? There are no specific requirements for those who are participating and going into year 2 in school year 15-16. They could take a look at their ISP as of this April 1st, see if it's increased, and if they want to lock that in, they could start a new 4-year cycle next year. But they're guaranteed their ISP from last April 1st for 4 years, so there's no requirement. They would just be marked currently participating on the notification template. Unless, Yang made a good point, unless there's some sort of change in the school, like the ISP or the identified students change, there's been like a grade's been removed, or there's some kind of change in the school that would change the ISP, then they would need to recalculate that. Or groups change, then they would need to take another look at their ISP. If the LEA is already participating, are they required to submit the school level data to us again? Yeah, and they would just indicate currently participating on the template. Next question is, would you please review the potential sources for proxy data for the notification report? We're going to go back in the slides to look at that. We're going to try to go back in the slides. Oh boy. Bear with us here for a second. Okay. Okay, so to answer your question about what constitutes proxy data, so for school-level data, LEAs must provide state agencies with school-level eligibility status information no later than April 15th. And so state agencies with access to school-level data may exempt LEAs from this requirement, as Heather just mentioned. The direct certifications with SNAP, as you can see here on the slide, divided by total enrollment gives you your proxy ISP. So that's just direct certifications with SNAP. That doesn't include direct certifications with other programs or direct certifications with SNAP letter method. So that's what constitutes as proxy data. And so if you use this calculation to determine your ISP, you just have to make a notation in the template.
And so here's the special notation you have to make when using proxy data. Proxy data is not fully reflective of the number of identified students. So that lets us know that direct certification with SNAP has been used to calculate the ISP.
That's all the questions we have. We'll give another minute to submit any other questions while we try to upload the handouts here for you all. We did receive another question. What do we do if an LEA does not submit site-level data? It's required by law that they submit this information. I'm not sure what repercussions you have, but it is required by law that they submit this information. Okay, we don't have any additional questions coming in, so just want to make you all aware of our next CEP webinar, which is 2 weeks from today on Wednesday, March 18th from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be talking about CEP financials, and that one will be for both state agencies and for school districts. So please save the date. We hope you can join us. We're going to go ahead and close the audio line now, but we will try to upload the handouts here if you want to hang on the live meeting tool for a few minutes so that you can download the slides. Thank you all very much for your participation today.